Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are played in the Great League, and they are not mine. These were sent in by a member of my local community named ASYourFoe. He is leading with Venusaur, which is a pretty standard lead, and he has Bastiodon, which is a kind of meta Pokemon that I don't have for Great League. And also in the back, he has a Shadow Banette. So, yeah, Shadow Banette is not a Pokemon that I think anyone probably encounters very often. It is incredibly squishy, as you can see from how much damage it is taking from the Vine Whips, but Shadow Ball hits ridiculously hard one-shotting Superior. And now his opponent is left with an Aromatisse up against ASYourFoe's Bastiodon. And Basti probably doesn't need to shield anything here. This I thought was going to be a Thunderbolt. Turned out to be a Draining Kiss bait. And so, yeah. Your foe is going to undercharge the the Stone Edge a little bit so that he can farm the rest of the way down, end with enough energy to threaten the Claydol. Claydol is obviously going to resist the Smackdowns, so got to try to do whatever damage you can. Hits it with a Flamethrower, which does not that much, but these Confusions are also not doing a ton of damage. Switches out to catch a move on Banette, which is crazy. I feel like shielding Banette would have been fine because Banette could Shadow Claw down this Claydol in no time at all. But maybe trying to go for a 2-shield flex and only just deciding now that, it's probably not going to happen. But able to smack down the Claydol the rest of the way down and manages to take that game for a pretty clean game one. All right. Next up against a Phalanx. So Phalanx is a pure fighting type Pokemon. It has Counter, Superpower, and I believe Megahorn is the typical coverage move. Actually, I think that's the only coverage move. The only other move is, I think, a close combat. Regardless, gonna no shield because correctly calling the Superpower bait, and then the opponent switches out to Deoxys. Gonna shield the first Psycho Boost against Banette, which is probably necessary. Psycho Boost would hit ridiculously hard just because everything hits Shadow Banette really, really hard. So opponent going to no shield and get taken out by the Shadow Ball. Definitely the right move to no shield here. Stunfisk outpaces Banette a little bit, but Banette actually is able to survive that Mud Bomb. If the opponent had thrown the Discharge, I think Banette would still have just barely survived. Gonna get Mud-Shotted the whole way down, which is unfortunate, but that's alright. Got a Venusaur here, which won't get hit too hard by anything. Mud Bomb hits for neutral. Venusaur would survive. But knowing that there's still a Phalanx back there, kind of got to save Venusaur because Bastiodon would get countered down really, really fast. Makes it to the Frenzy Plant. Could have thrown, but instead opted to switch out and catch the move on Basti. It is the Mud Bomb. And yeah, Basti can't really hurt Unova Stunfisk that well because even the Flamethrower just hits for neutral, and neutral hits from Bastiodon don't really hurt that much. Gonna reach this Flamethrower just barely. Gonna launch this Fire, and it's going to not quite do enough. Gonna get Mudshot the rest of the way down, but luckily Venusaur has a Frenzy Plant already loaded, so just going to unload that energy and manage to take out this Stunfisk and take that game. GG. All right, next up against Crazy Arms. Venusaur into Umbreon. This is neutral-ish matchup. It's a lot better for Umbreon now that there is the threat of Psychic. Kind of have to be a little bit more wary with Venusaur, whereas before you didn't really have to be concerned about anything. It was going to end up having to throw foul plays, and you would survive 2 of them anyway. So gonna no shield here, and it is the Psychic, which Venusaur survives anyway. And ASYourFoe is going to shield the second move, since he had an abundance of energy. Now just going to unload this Frenzy Plant. Doesn't get a shield, and the opponent switches out to Nidoqueen. So, gonna actually make it to the Frenzy Plant just before he goes down. And probably gonna let Venusaur go down after here because there's no reason to switch. Oh my gosh. Switching into Banette instead. Gonna preserve Venusaur. I guess the thought process is probably, since Bastiodon is so thick, maybe you'd be able to make a catch there. My gosh. No shielding, anticipating the Poison Fang bait, and that is not what happened. Taking Shadow Banette down. Gonna shield the Earth Power here with Bastiodon. Gonna reach this Flamethrower. But this is a tough situation. I guess the only play is to make a catch with Venusaur, but I think this Earth Power is going to come out well before Switch Timer is up. Yes, it is going to come out here. Hits for double super effective. This is a non-Shadow Nidoqueen, so Basti will survive. Switches into Venusaur, is met with an Azumarill, and yeah, that was not going to, yeah. All right, so GG. Shadow Banette, very squishy. All right, Venusaur into Stunfisk. This is pretty decent from Venusaur. Stunfisk is throwing the Rock Slide right away, not even building up to threaten an Earthquake, so can definitely let that first one through. One of the things that this would suggest to me is that the opponent is trying to get their damage in with the Rock Slide, so even though they are not threatening anything else, maybe they're pretty weak to Venusaur, so you might want to consider shielding anyway. Gonna land the Sludge Bomb and then switch out to Bastiodon. Gets a battery notification, so Tropius is probably going to get an extra move in during that, but not going to make too much of a difference because these Leaf Blades hit Basti for neutral, and neutral hits to Basti really don't do that much. So Stunfisk is going to come back out, and thankfully Basti was able to get enough farm so that they have this Flamethrower can threaten Stunfisk. Smackdown is doing basically nothing. Gonna shield here, correctly shielding the Earthquake. Guess he wants to save Basti for later. And is actually going to be able to reach this Flamethrower before Stunfisk is able to reach another Earthquake, I think. Or is this another one? My gosh, I was not counting. Yeah, was in fact another Earthquake. Switching out to Shadow Banette now that shields are down. Kind of a risky proposition here, but Deoxys really doesn't want to throw that Psycho Boost because it doesn't want to debuff his attack, so Banette's able to get the last shield off of him. Look at how much these Shadow Claws are doing. Oh my gosh. That's a freaking Deoxys reminder. Deoxys is super thick. Banette actually able to survive the Psycho Boost and get this Shadow Ball off, annihilating this Deoxys. Oh my gosh. Wow, Shadow Banette. Very Shadow. And yeah, Bastiodon could throw here, but opts to just smack down the G-Fist. That's probably very satisfying for some of the Bastiodon players here. Yeah, that's a GG. Wow, that was wild. All right, Venusaur into Pelipper. I don't really know this matchup as well from the Venusaur side, but I know that when I play this matchup as the Pelipper, I build up to the Hurricane, and then I throw the Weather Ball. Of course, I also shield the first move, because you can definitely force your way into shield advantage. So opponent has decided that they are not going to be forcing their way into switch for this matchup. Ups to switch out, and I think they have a Weather Ball stored. No, wait, they threw the Hurricane. So yeah, no energy there on Pelipper, but they do have it available in case they need to make a catch. So your foe is going to switch into Bastiodon, get this trained on this Abomasnow, and is going to be able to smack down the whole way down. Energy Ball hits for neutral and does like about 30% damage. Not really a lot. Throwing this move a little bit early, so I think this is... Oh my gosh, it is another Energy Ball. Okay. I guess counting is hard. 6. Okay, so just barely not getting to their next Energy Ball, unless I miscounted again. But this time I didn't, so no shielding yet again. Very good counting from ASYourFoe. Not as much from me, but that's, you know, that's okay. I was talking, so that's my excuse. Opponent manages to make an amazing catch with their almost dead Pelipper. Catching this Flamethrower, definitely salvaging this game a little bit. Switching out to Shadow Banette right away. Just needs to be able to get to this Shadow Ball. That would almost definitely take them out at this point. Shielding the first Power Whip, and unfortunately they were at back-to-back. Will this Power Whip actually KO? It will, and unfortunately now we've only got a Venusaur, but the opponent top left, I mean, I think Venusaur had no energy, so I feel like Ferrothorn should have had that? I don't know. Possible that they're tanking or something. Or maybe Ferrothorn doesn't have such a dominating matchup regardless. Managing to hit Legend off of that 4-1, and next up against Vermouth, my arch nemesis. In some sense. All right, Venusaur into Sea King. That is not something I've seen in a while, but I mean, Sea King does usually have Poison Jab with Icy Wind, so it can definitely win that. Instead, opting to safe swap their Sableye, and yeah, ASYourFoe is just going to throw a Frenzy Plant to get one of those shields first before switching out into Bastiodon to absorb the energy that Sableye had built up. Bastiodon is a very good damage sponge when it comes to neutral damage. This foul play also going to make a hit. Gonna throw this Stone Edge. If this lands, I think it will not quite KO, and he would have to smack down the rest of the way anyway. Either way, Sableye gonna use its last shield there on the Stone Edge. And now kind of got to make a decision here on what you want to do. Gonna let this foul play go. Get another smackdown through. So the Sableye is pretty low. Gonna come out with Shadow Banette. Gonna have to shield one of these foul plays, but Shadow Banette with energy is going to destroy everything. So with Sableye out of the picture, that's one of the hardest counters to Banette. Skuntank gonna come out. I mean, Banette is gonna be resisting these Poison Jabs. Gonna land a resisted Shadow Ball, and now gonna see Sea King come back out. Able to reach the Shadow Ball, winning CMP tie, of course. Shadow Banette is faster than pretty much anything. Land the Shadow Ball, that will one-shot, and yeah, just going to Shadow Claw until you faint. And now Venusaur just has to land a anything before this Skuntank is able to get to 2 Flamethrowers. Baits with the Crunch, is it going to be enough? Just barely able to make it to this Frenzy Plant before Skuntank was able to get to the Flamethrower. It was very, very close. All right, and that's a GG. Damn, Banette is crazy. All right. Next up, we have Venusaur into Scrafty. This is a pretty strong matchup for Venusaur, resisting all of these counters. And yeah, if Scrafty does not bait doesn't correctly bait a power-up punch, then it's even better for Venusaur. Gonna throw this Frenzy Plant. Have some nice New York City car alarms in the back. And yeah. Gonna have to shield this, because at this point a foul play would definitely KO. If they bait another power punch, that would also be fine, because Venusaur would still be able to get to 2 Frenzy Plants before they were able to get to another foul play. Landing that, making it to the, oh my gosh, making it to this Frenzy Plant before they even get to their next move. So very strong win for Venusaur, and there's a Skarmory back there, so yeah, gonna get some nice farm on Venusaur, but just gonna be met with a Bastiodon, which completely shuts them down. And Jellicent is going to get annihilated by this Shadow Ball. Just have to shield here once, and even if this is a Bubble Beam bait, as it turns out to be, it's still fine because the Shadow Ball is still going to KO, and yeah, throwing this just as the Jellicent is reaching their next Bubble Beam. Wow, that car alarm is really persistent back there. And the opponent top left, so GG. All right. Next up, Venusaur into Medicham. Similar to the Scrafty matchup, not quite as good. Medicham can threaten Venusaur without baiting. Just, you know, if they land the Psychic, that would KO. Throwing here, so this can only be an Ice Punch with Venusaur. Definitely survives. Opponent also sneaks in 1 counter, and now Venusaur is going to throw this Frenzy. But since Venusaur had gotten 1 Vine Whip in earlier, if he just throws this Frenzy Plant as soon as he has it, he'll win CMP against Medi, and yeah, should be able to either get another shield here or do devastating damage. Have the option to shield here, but ASYourFoe is just going to let it go down, bring out Banette, and yeah, the opponent actively swaps into Ninetales, so just going to send Basti out, and I imagine going to smack down the whole way down, not shield anything, because you really just need to end with enough energy to threaten Medicham. So easily able to eat that Weather Ball. New Yorkers. And able to smack the rest of the way down. Gonna throw this Flamethrower. Medicham doesn't manage to sneak in a counter. That's fantastic. Opponent no shields, and they have their own Bastiodon back there, so this is actually sort of dangerous. Gonna throw this Flamethrower, and it does not really that much. Shadow Banette Shadow Claws are doing a really respectable amount of damage, though. Definitely going to get a shield out here with this Shadow Ball, but probably just barely not going to be able to reach another one. It's going to be kind of close, my gosh. Made it there, but wasn't able to throw because that Bastiodon Smackdown registered just there at the last minute. All right, so now I'm going to shield everything with Bastiodon. The car alarm is finally off. That's fantastic for my audio. I'm going to shield this Flamethrower also. The opponent's Bastiodon is at 1461, so probably an in-progress XL Bastiodon, not quite there yet. Candy for that is pretty hard to come by, respectfully. Gonna land this Flamethrower, managed to sneak in a Smackdown. This is really, really coming down to the wire and could even end up being a timeout. Able to survive that Flamethrower and just needs to reach this one, and that should probably just barely KO, or the opponent might even survive, might even need one more Smackdown. No. Able to take them out, just barely managing to pull that game together. My gosh, that was close in the end. All right. Venusaur to Bastiodon. Shiny Bastiodon. That's nuts. Haven't seen one of those in real life yet myself. Opponent maybe got an extra fast move there, but that could also have just been visual lag. Regardless, going to throw this Frenzy Plant. And if Venusaur shields here, then Bastiodon will not be able to reach their next Flamethrower before Venusaur is able to KO with another 2 Frenzy Plants. So instead, opponent's going to swap out to Sableye. ASYourFoe's going to throw one Frenzy to get the shield, and then switch out to Bastiodon to soak up the energy that Sableye had built up. So, going to take this Foul Play. Shadow Claws are also doing a decent chunk of damage. Gonna let this one go also. And yeah, gonna send out this Stone Edge. Does not get the shield off of Sableye, so gonna be able to smack down the rest of the way down before Sable's able to get to another Foul Play. And now the opposing Bastiodon is gonna come out. Probably build up a bunch of energy before doing anything that would KO. ASYourFoe's gonna throw this Flamethrower to do chip damage, and then swap out to Venusaur, actually. Ooh, Bastiodon able to get to this charge move before is the Flamethrower and takes out Venusaur. Gonna bring in, oh my gosh, gonna bring Banette in, and the opponent has a Medicham left over in the back, so that is rough for the opponent. These Shadow Claws are hitting for super effective and are doing devastating damage. They no-shield the Shadow Ball, oh my gosh. And yeah, Bastiodon comes back out and has had enough. That's a GG. Wow. All right. Venusaur to Sableye. So Venusaur and Sableye get to their charge moves at the same rate. It's 665 for Vine Whip into Frenzy Plant and 665 for Shadow Claw into Foul Play. The opponent actually swaps out at exactly the right time to make a catch on this. To catch this Frenzy Plant on their Skarmory, which is a terrible waste of energy for Venusaur, but this isn't such a bad position. Bastiodon is so thick. The Skarmory will throw the Brave Bird to try to give Bastiodon less farm, but Bastiodon doesn't hit hard enough to KO Skarmory quickly enough, so it's going to end up ending this with 100 energy anyway. Gonna eat another Brave Bird, which is double resistant, does nothing. And now we've got Bastiodon with 100 energy, which is prepared to threaten a couple of things because Rock and Fire have pretty decent coverage together. Getting one shield off of Meganium, and now getting to the second Flamethrower. Getting the second shield, and then switching out to Venusaur to farm up a little bit of energy, able to get to this Frenzy Plant, which will take out Sableye. Right? Yes. And now just needs to reach this Sludge Bomb. Probably will get there if the opponent doesn't want to throw something. And yeah, ASYourFoe still has 2 shields, so it makes sense to not bother. Kind of got to make a decision here as to whether you want to go for a 2-shield flex or a 3-ball flex. Opts for the 2-shield flex, saving his Venusaur, and the opponent is going to get out of there. So yeah, a very dominating set. This is the set where he claims the Pikachu Libre 533. That is a pretty good one. I believe 536 is the hundo, so 533, that's probably a 98. ASYourFoe can definitely power that up, make it XL, and have kind of something resembling usage in Great League. I have a few videos out on Pikachu Libre. You can definitely check those out if you happen to get yourself a 96 or higher Pika Libre. All right. So Banette against Politoed. This is not... Well, this probably isn't a very amazing matchup for Banette unless the opponent no shields. Oh my gosh, Politoed no shielded. Got one-shotted by that Shadow Ball and just barely not able to reach the next Shadow Ball against the Stunfisk. It's really unfortunate that Banette doesn't have a faster charge move. Banette can learn Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, and Thunder. I think Shadow Ball Thunder is the set that ASYourFoe used to run, but I see you switched over to Dazzling Gleam. We'll see how that goes. So far, it seems to have been working out pretty well, but I mean, Banette doesn't seem to need anything other than Shadow Ball to do devastating damage. Gets his Bastiodon lined up with an Ariados, which is really rough for the Ariados. Definitely don't need to shield anything as Basti. Lunge doing nothing, lowering Bastiodon's attack, but really lowering Bastiodon's attack in this situation is kind of just giving Bastiodon more farm. Throws another lunge, attack falls again, and gets even more farm. Gonna get another lunge off, I think, here, unless this is a cross poison. Another lunge. I mean, they are starting to kind of add up, but like, oh man. Bastiodon might be severely debuffed, but it has 100 energy, so... Regardless, Stunfisk gonna have to shield this move from Venusaur. Gonna reach the next Frenzy Plant, and yeah, this is probably gonna draw the last shield. And I mean, at this point, I guess as the Venusaur, you kind of just let this go. You have double shielded Bastiodon, which usually has no play against Stunfisk, but we are gonna see this Bastiodon loaded up with 100 energy, going to throw these flamethrowers. And there's one, and there's two. Yeah. Here we go again. Bastiodon managing to take out a G-Fisk. And on a 2-shield flex at that. GG. Alright, Venusaur against Drapion. This is not a great matchup for Venusaur. Drapion obviously resists all of Venusaur's moves, as any poison type with no subtyping does. So going to straight throw this Frenzy Plant. Hits pretty hard considering it's resisted, and yeah, not too sure what you do here in this situation. You definitely don't want to get Aqua Tail baited. Opponent manages to land the Sludge Bomb, and that is not ideal. Able to reach this next Frenzy Plant before they throw the next Sludge Bomb. So can definitely draw a shield here, yeah, and it was a CMP tie, so I imagine no shielding this. It is an Aqua Tail bait, which doesn't quite KO, but Drapion is able to Poison Sting the rest of the way down. Gonna bring Shadow Banette out against this Drapion and gonna shield here. It is an Aqua Tail bait. And gonna Shadow Claw the whole way down, I imagine. Double shielding Banette. But, I mean, Banette is gonna have a decent chunk of energy, so you'll definitely be able to get a shield back later. Let's see what comes out here. Opponent is waiting to think. Gonna be a Wigglytuff. All right, so yeah, gonna switch out right away to Bastiodon. There is an Azumarill back there also. So this is not that good. I mean, if Azumarill is like the one I run, which doesn't run Hydro Pump, then this matchup is pretty good for Basti. If it does have Hydro Pump, it is measurably worse. So let's see, this will be the tell, and it has the Hydro Pump. So not amazing for Bastiodon here. Gonna get this next Stone Edge off. Banette does have a move stored. And since this is Azumarill no shields, yeah, gonna reach this last charge move and manage to take out Bastiodon, but now it's gonna get Shadow Claw down. Gonna have a decent chunk of energy for this Wigglytuff. Throws a Shadow Ball right away. This is the bait that he definitely needs to land. Gets the last shield from that Shadow Ball, and now just really needs to reach the Dazzling Gleam. Just barely doesn't make it there. Opponent manages to charm down too fast. Banette is just a little bit too squishy to be able to reach that. That's a GG. Alright, Venusaur into Sableye. So, saw this matchup before. It is an okay matchup for Venusaur if you can just prevent your opponent from sneaking in a move, or if you manage to sneak in a Vine Whip yourself. Gonna no-shield this first foul play. Oh my gosh, really risky play there. If they had thrown the return, that would have been so much energy lost. Able to reach this next Frenzy Plant. If this is a CMP tie, then amazing. If it's not, then you kind of just get Shadow Claw down. Get Shadow Claw down, that's fine. Sableye with no shields, some energy, but it's really hard for Sableye to... well, it's hard for anything to really damage Bastiodon with energy. And since Bastiodon is such a feast or famine Pokemon, it hard shuts down some things and gets hard shut down by others, it's probably dangerous. Like, one of the Pokemon in the back might be weak to Bastiodon, and so they are kind of stuck in here. You're trying to use their Sableye to finish off this Basti. Now going to switch out to Banette, and they are met with a Azumarill. Then they switch out into Mandibuzz. That is kind of rough. I mean, even these Snarls are doing pretty significant damage here. Going to shield this first move. It is an Aerial Ace, so this is probably a Dark Pulse Mandibuzz. And yeah, going to throw this Dazzling Gleam. Hits for super effective. Let's see what this does to Mandibuzz. Oh my god. Wow, that was so much damage to Mandibuzz. Is notoriously thick Pokemon. Just wow. All right. And yeah, gonna land this Shadow Ball against this Azumarill and can probably shield here and just Shadow Claw the rest of the way down. My gosh. Shadow Banette. Wow. Hits like an absolute truck. So yeah, that's a GG. All right, Venusaur into Ninetales. This is good or bad depending on moveset. They switch out right away, so we can infer that that is a Charmer. So, since that being a Charm Ninetales and then bringing out an Obstagoon, kind of have to stay in here with Venusaur because Obstagoon is devastatingly bad for this team's backline. No shielding the first Frenzy Plant, so yeah, I imagine just going to stay in here. Gonna shield here. This is probably going to be another Night Slash, and yeah, just going to farm the whole way down. I think it gets him down just before Obstagoon's able to reach another move. So now we have Venusaur with energy, and let's see what else is back there. And it's a Stunfisk. Okay, so yeah, alignment going to be pretty important here. Definitely want to get Bastiodon lined up with the with the presumably Charm Ninetales. So getting the second shield, and this is a CMP tie. So yeah, gonna let this go and just bring out Shadow Banette. Opponent undercharges to try to get more farm, but must have lost track of energy because it enables this Venusaur to reach another Frenzy Plant. That is kind of a huge misplay from the opponent. At least they do have some energy. Gonna send Shadow Banette in. We get some nice lag, which is always fun, and then they switch into Ninetales. It is in fact running Charm, and that's actually fantastic because now Bastiodon is just going to be able to smack down the whole way and be able to throw Flamethrower to take out Stunfisk. Whereas, yeah, if they had stayed in with Stunfisk, could maybe have baited the Rock Slide, and yeah, because they had some energy already. If they would have been able to land the Earthquake against Banette, it would have definitely taken them out. Now they're bringing Stunfisk back into a Bastiodon with loaded energy. Just going to throw this one Flamethrower and manage to take that game. GG. That is the third time I have seen this Bastiodon take out Stunfisk. And for those who are wondering, the Bastiodon is not XL. The IVs aren't even amazing. I think it was like a 12, 14, 14, I think you told me. So yeah, going to take that and go up to 3130. All right, next up, Venusaur into Pelipper. I thought that was the last set in the last game. What is going on? Did I botch this? My gosh, if I botch this video or if this has just cycled back onto their first video again, I'm going to be kind of upset, but I guess I'll find out after this. Yeah, going to stay in, going to no shield here, take the Hurricane. Okay, I definitely haven't seen this game before. I might have put these in out of order somewhere. All right. So opponent is going to switch into Bastiodon, and I guess ASYourFoe can't switch out here because Bastiodon Smackdown, just the fast move pressure is too much for Shadow Banette to take. So yeah, going to sit here with Bastiodon. Going to throw this Flamethrower, and the opposing Bastiodon is kind of just going to be doing the same thing. I think this is one of the few matchups where it's better to actually have Flash Cannon on your Basti, but nobody runs that because, like, how often do you run into a Bastiodon mirror? Sure, I think this is the second one I've seen here today, maybe the third, but yeah, just going to go straight Flamethrower. Saving shields for Banette, I imagine. Pretty good fast move denial. Going to land this very exciting Flamethrower against this Bastiodon, and now that the Bastiodon is low, going to switch out to Banette. Going to have to shield here, but I mean, this is a decent amount of farm that Banette is getting. And there's a Registeel back there, which is something that just absolutely does not apply any fast move pressure, so this is kind of a dangerous position for the opponent. Gonna land the Shadow Ball. That does a ridiculous amount of damage, and yeah, can just shield once and Shadow Claw the rest of the way down, end with a bunch of energy. The opponent still has one shield, but Banette has a move loaded. Pelipper comes back out, gonna throw this Shadow Ball. And since I remember this Pelipper had thrown the Hurricane, not going to be able to reach a Weather Ball in time. Switches into Bastiodon, and Pelipper is going to have to throw this Weather Ball. Could have charged up a little bit more energy. Oh my gosh, are they going to make it? They make a failed catch on their Bastiodon, which enables this Banette to safely make it up to the Shadow Ball. Going to throw this Shadow Ball and manage to take out this Pelipper for a very close final game. Yeah. So that might be on me. I might have put those games out of order or something. Yeah. If you have a pretty good set of games and you want to send them to me, please do. I'm a little bit content starved lately. Would love to start casting some other gamers. And yeah, don't forget to do the things that you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You know you're supposed to do them. So please do the things. Would help me out a lot. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.